Hey guys, let me know how the audio is now. Is it better? Okay, I think this should be good. Alright, cool. So anyway, there was this event, Invisible Arcade. They were playing and I had like a bunch of different sets. Each one just had a different game that was played live on stage. So their Relativity was there. That was kind of fun. It's like a Seattle event that they brought over to here to Chicago for one night only. Let me make the noise gate a little more. Alright, that should be even better now. So anyway, that was that. The other thing I've been working on is redoing a bunch of the code for the systems. So I'm going to talk a bit about kind of how all of these are working together and where sort of what kind of how I've been changing everything up from the code base. So I'll jump into the game scene. Let me turn on this volume on the computer so you can hear some of the sound effects. Hey, Andy James Adams. Alright, I'm kind of just starting and talking about some of the changes I've made to the code base. So this is one bug that's been bugging me, which is when with the material, you can see there's part of the cube that is inside this the leaf object. This is just like a floating leaf object. It's not attached to a tree. It will be. Willie, this is a bit of a mind screw, but I noticed boxes come from above if you drop them down. But what if you hold a box and look at the next wrap? Oh! Does that box float? So, you mean, I see, right? You're saying if I throw this box off the ledge, should see it come down from above. There we go. So this is, you're asking that, and you're saying, what if you are just holding a box? Some of these aren't intractable. You're saying, like, what if you're just holding it and that distance, like, what happens to the iteration that's in front of you? So, yeah, you would actually see yourself, and the box is actually floating. There is a floating box there. You don't see yourself because there's no player object. I mean, like when you're playing the game, I want you to play as yourself. You're not playing as anyone. I mean, if there is a character, you'd be a gray capsule. But yeah, there is actually. You would never be able to see that box that's in the distance, but it is there from what we've done with the engine. But But yeah, if it was like, if I had a way where I could model players and put them in the game, then I would make it so that the distance was close enough that you could see yourself. But as it is, I've just made it, the distance are like, it's far enough that you won't see yourself. So anyway, so this box should be embedded, is inside this leaf, but you can see that the material is actually being drawn on top of the leaf material. So this like line, these edges give it away that it's inside, but just looking at the blue part of the cube, you can't really see that it's inside the leaf material. Really, it should look like this. This is how it should appear correctly. So there you can see that the part inside, embedded inside the leaf, is a lot lighter in color. So these were just like a bunch of tests with all the different shaders to try to figure out which one was working, which one wasn't. You can see here again, it's broken. Another issue I was having was with these shadows for transparent objects, and I'll explain what's going on here. Okay, here's we can take a look at this. So this is so the render of this is using Unity's standard shader, which has multiple rendering modes. This is opaque, cutout, fade, and transparent. Now, if I'm using the standard shader and I'm in transparent rendering mode, you can see it makes this like cross-hatch shadow when you have a hard. That's a lot of shapes on a single cube. Yeah, that one was a test. That one actually, because it had the UV thing messed up. But you can see here that it's got this really nice crosshatch shadow when there is a hard lighting. When there's alpha with the transparent. Now, this is my shader, my custom shader, and what's the advantage over using my custom shader as opposed to Unity standard shader is, so Unity standard shader only has this one color field, and I can, you know, change stuff here, but it's very limited. I can't pick out individual parts of the texture to change. However, my custom shader, what it does is it allows me to change all the colors inside, which is important from a gameplay standpoint. So let's undo that. But you see, and then I've got this value here that allows me to change the alpha of it. But you can see the problem is that it is not affecting the shadow. So I spent all of yesterday trying to figure out how to do this, and eventually what I did was I actually just, well, one idea, eventually I actually decided I wanted to keep this. It's that even when this is alpha, having a solid shadow has an advantage, which is that when it's placed, let's say this is the leaf of a tree, this means that when the box is placed inside the leaf of the tree, you can see the shadow of the box inside the shadow of the leaf, which if the box had the same shadow pattern as the leaf, then you see it just sort of that shadow gets mixed in, so it's actually not as interesting. And then also because these boxes are only appear semi-transparent during the initial, like when it has never been picked off before, there's not a lot of times when this box is just in the alpha state. Manjai says he's surprised there aren't any green cubes with dollar signs on them. That comes, I'll introduce those in the DLC. Now this did have a problem with my double gravity trees. So you can see here, now this is actually what it looks like when it casts shadow. So you can see now this is actually a problem because this again, this double gravity tree, it uses a gradient shader. Let me enhance this. Oops. let's go back to this tree. So you can see here, this material actually does, when I have the leaf itself casting a shadow, it casts a solid shadow, which is a problem because I want that crosshatch pattern. So as it turns out, you can actually have something called a shadow caster, which in the mesh renderer, instead of, you can say like on cast shadow, off doesn't cast shadow, or you can do two-sided. I don't know what two-sided is, but you can also do shadow only, so it doesn't draw itself, but it draws the shadow. So actually what I have is I have a leaf shadow caster that's an exact duplicate of the leaf object, at least just in terms of the mesh, and then on the leaf object itself, it doesn't cast shadow, and then I have the shadow caster cast object. So that's, I wish I could have found the shader solution for that, but I didn't, and this works, so that's that. That's a pretty typical game dev workaround. Do double gravity trees always have a ceiling and floor connected? Yes, they do, and there is a reason why. It like, I mean, obviously, from a design standpoint, it makes sense to have them reaching both sides, but it also, you'll see later, there's a gameplay element that shows why that's important. Okay, I just realized I have this reference image on the screen, and I don't need that. Two-sided means a mesh with normals pointing away from a light source. Still cast a shadow. Oh, I see. Okay, that's what that means. So I guess there were like shadows on the inside of the box. Okay, oh, I can actually see that being really useful. Alright, so... Okay, so basically... Hey, Catchco, how's it going? So, I, brought on a programmer to help me part-time. So now I have two programmers working on the game. One, David, he works part-time, and he's basically helping me write editor tools and optimization. So there's like, you can see in the drop-down menu, Relativity, there's like there's a window generator, there's stuff that combines meshes, optimizes entire scene just for PS4, all these tools, and he's been working on that. It's great, and he does about 10-20 hours per week. He's also working on a bunch of other projects. And then I brought on Chris, who has been working full-time for about 3 months. No, not 3 months, 3 weeks now. He started off working part-time for a month, and then he graduated and started working full-time. And Chris is actually working very closely with me on gameplay. So a lot of these trees, he's kind of refactoring a bunch of this stuff together. And when I brought him on, like the week he graduated was the week I went to E3. So I was kind of like, hey, Chris, you know, here's, let's get you onto Perforce and you can look at all the code, get familiar with it. So that first month when he was working part-time, I was just like, get familiar with the code base. And then I was like, all right, now refactor everything. I'm off to E3. See you later. And I kind of just had this idea that, you know, I would focus only on design now and not have to worry about coding. And that's, because I've never worked at a studio before, so I don't know like what good programming practices are, and I've also never really worked with another programmer. So as it turns out, that wasn't really the best way to do things. Because with this game, like the design is tied so closely together with the gameplay programming that you really can't separate the two. So today we had this like code review session where we went through everything he's written, just so that I can understand it, and I know what's going on. Hey, son of Glaze, hello. No, son of G-Dace. So I'm just kind of talking about hello. How's it going? I'm gonna start going over some of the main changes. So, for example, one of the things we've done with these cubes, and also Chris is going to. We're gonna do a guest appearance with Chris on Thursday, and he can tell you. We'll kind of talk in more detail, but I just want to give you some of the overview of some of the changes we've been doing. So, for example, we have single gravity cubes and double gravity cubes, and it used to just have like one single script. And you know, at the top you would say like this is a single gravity cube, and then or you check it would have this like one boolean, and then the whole time throughout the script it's like I basically had every function I had two versions. If single gravity, do this. If double gravity, do this. Which was actually really difficult to work with. So kind of what Chris has come in and done is he's basically abstracted everything. So you can see now we've got this double gravity cube class, an extension of gravity cube. And single gravity cube, likewise, it is an extension of gravity cube. So we basically have this, you know, gravity cube class that has all these states and physics that both of them share. And then when there's, you know, kind of specific things to single gravity, then that gets done here, and specific stuff to double gravity gets done in the double gravity cube script. Makes it just a whole ton easier to manage and deal with. Another thing is these switches, and this is something that we are working on and we'll talk in more detail about on Thursday. There's some of these stuff are not correctly named right now, but you can see there's quadruple gravity cube. See, now I can do that. That's what's great about this system, is that I can do a quadruple gravity cube very easily. I just extend the gravity cube class. Like before, I would have had to, you know, I don't even know how I would have done it before. There would just been this total mess. So right now we have this. Show you guys how this works. I'm sure you guys all know. We place these. We place the box on the square on the. Let's go outside here. There it is. We should have just started the player inside here. But anyway, you can see we've got this box, and you place it here, and it lights up the box. You know, the cube, you place it on the square, it lights up, and it opens the door. Oh, by the way, I wanted to, while we're here, I want to get your guys' opinion on something. So, hold on, let me rotate just to get rid of that instruction. When I place the box, hey, Crazy Raz 91. That's actually kind of a cool idea. Main GI says, I got an idea. Just have a quadruple gravity cube tree. Well, no, it would not be quadruple. It would be sextuple, right? So it's six-sided tree. It's going great, Crazy Raz. Thanks for coming by. So I want to get your opinion on something. I'm going to place a box on that square switch, and the path is going to light up, and once the path is completely lit, the door is going to open. Now, right now, when I take off, okay? Right? When I take off the box, that line unfills. So you can see it lights up, and then the line like travels back when I take it off. Now, I do have an option to make it so that the line doesn't unfill, but disables instantaneously. Virtual Dropkick, hello. Virtual Dropkick says just stop. Oh, you stopped streaming. I thought you were saying that there was something wrong with the stream. Okay, so I've just made it so now the line is going to turn off instantaneously when I take off the cube. Okay, see, it lights up and it turns off completely. What do you guys think? Which one do you like? I can't tell. This is how I used to have it, and I feel like it should turn off instantaneously, but having it unfill feels kind of cool. You like the unfill? Okay. I think you know what, it probably just needs some sound. You can have it unfill from the cube's position! That's it! Oh, but it needs to be fast. Synthoid Commander says you can have it unfill from the cubes. I feel like that makes sense. Oh, so then you unfill and then the door closes. What am I trying to simulate? I'm not really trying to simulate anything. I mean, this is not like trying to represent anything in the real world. I'm just trying to communicate to the player that the door is opening. Actually, Synthoid Commander's suggestion is actually really cool. Basically, hey, DJ Sardine, how's it going? No, like, have this, and then when you move away, it unfills from the line, and then the door closes. You know, the thing is, I'm reluctant to have it be part of the gameplay, because then it makes it a timing puzzle, which I'm not a huge fan of. I think it needs to be a lot faster. It needs to be like, I feel like this is even too slow. But I'll try that. I think that would look really cool. But it needs to be a lot faster. I mean, it should be pretty much instantaneous. That's just like a fancy visual effect. So anyway, let me jump into the code and show you guys. So right now we've got this cube door activator, which is what that square switch is. Right, it just checks if that door is turned on. The problem right now, and then here's the door, cube door controller. Right now, the problem is that the cube door activator is in the code. We've kind of hard coded it to sync with the door. So we basically set up this this delegate thing. So when the line is filled, it like calls the door to open. So it's inside the script, and I was kind of talking to Chris about it today, and we realized what we actually need to do is abstract this away from the door, so that, like, we realize the class, so this door is inside the door class, right? So this is the door controller, and we realize actually the door should be an extension of a class of things that are just like stuff you can turn on. And then these cube activators are just generic switches. So that means that we can basically use any of these switches to then turn on a whole bunch of objects, one of which is the door. R3D Bulbs. Hello, how's it going? Yeah, thanks. I'm glad this looks interesting. I'm just kind of talking about behind the scenes. She says, one drawback of infilling from the cube is that you have to double check every level that you can't go through the door when you're not supposed to by exploiting the timing. I mean, right, basically, like I said, that thing needs to happen so fast that it's basically, it should basically instantaneous. Like, you shouldn't even think about the possibility, like, that the possibility of running through the door after you've moved the box away from the switch shouldn't even occur to you. It should just be like, that's so fast, there's no way I can do it. Yeah, so this is like kind of stuff that Chris is really helping me figure out, that abstracting out systems so that they can all work together in this way. So, like, because, like, a good example is, here is a right, okay, so here I've got this this dispenser that releases another something. I won't spoil it yet. And that's also hard-coded. And I just realized, well, actually, we can just make this dispenser an extension of the class of things that can be turned on. We got to come up with a better name for that. And then again, this is just just to check if it's on or off, and then if it's on, then that class of things that can be turned on is turned on. Kind of like Talos with barriers. Yeah, Talos had... Did Talos have... No, Talos didn't also have too many timing puzzles, because I feel with the lasers, they were also instantaneous. So that's pretty much it as far as kind of programming updates for this week. Again, like I said, on Thursday, Chris is going to come on, and we're going to... So right now, Chris is taking that switch, that cube activator system, abstracting it out so that it's just this on-off switch, and then taking the door, making it part of an extension of a class of things that can be turned on. Powered object. That's a good class name. I will let Chris know. Although, you know, class of things that can be turned on has a nice ring to it. So yeah, we're gonna like talk about what we're doing with this cube system, and then Chris will, for those of you who are new to programming, like I am, Chris is gonna talk about. We're gonna like go over the script more or less line by line, and you know, talk about why this is there, what's that doing, and then jump to this other script and all that. And it'll basically just focus on this door cube system. And then I'll talk a bit too about kind of how that shader for this thing is working out, because it's actually pretty clever. I think so. Well, Chris said it was pretty clever. So let's see, where's my agenda? So those are code updates. So lesson learned is that transitioning code, I was like way too idealistic about thinking, you know, I bring on this programmer, have him work, he'd be working full time, and I can just not worry about programming. I would just make an interface and not necessarily a class, sort of like the new Unity event system that was added in 4.6. Are you talking, Catchco? What are you talking about? Are you talking about the powered object thing? Should not necessarily be a class. It should just be an interface. We were talking about making it a class because then, you know, they can all have this. This variable called isOn, and you know, it's like that way I know we can always say isOn, and whatever it is will get turned on. I haven't really used the Unity event system too much, so lesson learned. Yeah, it takes time to just integrate someone into the project, and I also need to. Like, this game, definitely coding and design are really integrated closely together. Like, you have to be doing both together. It would be tricky to explain right here, but I would make an powerable interface that can be applied to any class. I will talk to Chris about this. So, notes for Chris. You know what? I should do like I feel like every time I'm here, I do like notes for Chris. And I should just start saving these. So you see Chris notes, notes for Chris, notes for David, notes for Chris, 2015, 07, 06. And you said an interface, powerable interface. That can be applied to any class. Why am I wearing hand bandages? I am not. It's they're called Soft Flex. This is what it is. No, Soft Flex gloves. So it's called Soft Flex computer gloves, and you know, I basically am in front of the computer a lot, and about a few months ago I was noticing that it was really bothering me, and I had seen some people, Steve Swink, Teddy Diefenbach, I think that's his last name. Steve Swink's working on Scale, Teddy's working on Hyperlight Drifter. They've both started using this, and I saw Teddy talking about it. Like basically like everyone on the Hyperlight Drifter team wears these now. So I started wearing them. I know Casey Murator wears them, and I've just found them to be really great to work with. It's like I feel like I can't work without them anymore. For reference, I can check out I pointer down handler in the Unity docs. I will talk to Chris about this, since he's kind of the guy that's taking care of that now. Let's see, tricky to explain right here. Basically, interfaces are better for data classes. I see, data. Thanks for joining us tonight, Red Bulbs. Hello, Red Bulbs. Oh, I said that already. That's how you pronounce it. But for reference, okay, honestly, yeah. Chuck Norris. Oh, nice. Yes, I recommend these. I highly recommend these. I also have like a sit-stand desk that allows me to adjust. Which is really nice. So I have everything at just the right height, and that helps a lot. Soft Flex computer gloves. I recommend them. All right. So yeah, those are learn some good lessons with bringing code and working with another programmer. It's good, and you should always hire people that are smarter than you. So we already talked about the shadows. Thursday, we'll have Chris come on, and he'll kind of talk more about code. You guys can meet him. And on Friday, Matthew Dual Hamill, I believe his Twitter handle is Dual Hammer, has sent me a game. I opened it today just to make sure that it runs, and that was it. But on Friday, we will be going over that. We'll be talking about that, kind of critiquing that game, and I think he'll be on the stream, so that should be really fun. I think now I'm going to just take a quick 5-minute break, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do some level design.